High tuition is a problem because it prevents equality of opportunity to get a college education. Highest education has always been more expensive and therefore unfairly distributed, but America's college tuition problem started with the Great Depression. No one person was responsible, but the inflation of the dollar from the Great Depression and the 2008 stock market crash, as well as the decrease in state funding yet increased desire for education, have caused college boards to raise prices.
Some previous solutions have included raising state and federal funding and reducing academic opportunities and student services. However, these have not worked because the recession forced tax cuts, which lowered education funds. This ultimately drove up the tuition again. Also, cutting activities and student services lowered the value of higher education.
College? Who do you think I am?
Does it really look like college tuition is going to be a problem for me?
Oh, our prices are too high? Well, it sounds like a you problem.
The wealthy don't consider this a problem because they have enough money to cover the cost of tuition, and they think the educated should be the elite with the corporate positions. Also, some students have no interest in college after high school, so they don't want their money to be sacrificed to colleges and programs that will not affect them. Lastly, colleges need the large tuition fees to support programs and education for those enrolled.
With fewer public colleges and free textbooks, which can easily be reused, the government will have to cut less money from the source, Social Security. Still, Social Security is hurting anyways due to a lack of workers, so an influx of educated workers from this plan would solve both issues.
For this solution to happen, Congress must pass a bill to cut mandatory spending on Social Security. Then they must pass a bill limiting the amount of colleges each state can have. This will encourage colleges to combine. And then the money saved from carrying out the process will be used to purchase textbooks and materials for college students. Previous presidents have attempted to lower the tuition cost for public colleges by cutting programs and increasing federal funding. For example, Ronald Reagan attempted to make cuts in federal funding for education with hopes that college tuition and education costs would decrease. However, the system failed and the amount of money spent on education from the federal government continued to increase, leading to higher tuition fees. Our plan will avoid this problem because we are not cutting any funding for education, we are merely adding to it and attempting to combine colleges to limit funding and tuition costs.
This solution probably would not be upheld because in San Antonio Independent School District v. Rodriguez, they decided the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause does not extend to education and/or need-based higher education funding. As for textbooks, Lemon v. Kurtzman rejects private school funding but does not rule out free public school textbooks. Since no educational aid like this has ever been attempted, the best estimate of a cost would be a meager $30 billion out of Social Security's $2.6 trillion. Research has shown that each Social Security receiver has only 2 workers supporting their fund, with the number going down each year. This solution would cut mandatory spending budget on Social Security and use the money to aid higher education. The more people being educated, the more people working, and the more people working, the more people supporting the Social Security Trust. The same people are being taxed, but the tax money supports education directly and Social Security only indirectly.
This is a dual effort between federal and state governments. Although college tuition is mainly a non-federal program, both levels of government must work together. The federal government can renew the Higher Systems Education Act and cut the Social Security program. And the state governments can combine colleges and cover the cost of supplies from federal government funding.
A constitutional amendment would be necessary in order to cut mandatory spending on Social Security. Also, the court case of San Antonio Independent School District v. Rodriguez would need to be overturned, while Lemon v. Kurtzman would need to be revisited.
We will gather public support by appealing to high schoolers who are looking into different colleges but worried about tuition, We will appeal to parents looking for affordable colleges to send their teens so they can be educated. And lastly, we will appeal to the community by making more students educated, which will lead to a more educated and stronger America. Overall, the solution contains 3 steps that need to be carried out by a cooperation between federal and state governments. First, we must cut Social Security, then combine funds to promote a few select schools, and lastly, cover costs of textbooks and other necessities for students. Carrying out this solution will allow everyone the chance to have a higher education, which will ultimately strengthen America and its economy.